Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Talk of the Rift. This is a podcast, all things about League of Legends, from current state of the meta, upcoming changes, professional play. I am your host, Logan, and joined with me today is Elijah.
Hi.
And Coobs.
What's up?
Today, since we're doing our first episode, we're going to go over a couple things. Like I said right away, show about professional play, current changes, upcoming changes, and the current state as things come out. We've never done one of these episodes before. This is the first time we've ever done this.
First time.
We have definitely never screwed up a podcast, streaming it, and then forced to restart.
That is something we don't do.
Just for clarification, we're recording this one, right?
Yes. For clarification, this one is a pre-recorded podcast. Normally, we're going to try to do these live as best as we can. However, depending on our schedules, we're going to have to do pre-recorded ones as they pop up. For those of you that did happen to tune in into the hypothetical screw-up that we did, some of this is a little bit reusable. That did not happen. We're going to be talking about preseason again. There's a lot of new changes that came out with preseason, though, so there's going to be a lot of new content. Also, Senna has been revealed since then, so all of her abilities came out, so we're going to talk about her. And then, of course, we're going to have a Q&A at the end of the episode for 5 minutes, like we're going to do with all of our shows. Because it's a pre-recorded message, we've already gathered our questions from Twitter, emails, etc. So if you want to submit your questions, just so you know, you can always tweet them to us at Talk of the Rift. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, you can hit the like button to get notified when we get new videos, or send us in the comment sections there. Or if you're on Twitch, give us a follow. And you can also, if we're live, put your questions in the chat, and we will get them when we can. How are you guys doing today?
Doing all right. Can't complain.
Yeah, doing pretty good. Excited to be here. Talk about all the changes. Senna looks dope.
Senna does look dope, which is a good transition into Senna because I think what we're going to do is we're going to just go over abilities really quick. I'm just going to jump through passive abilities really fast, and then we can talk about each one in depth and her overall kit. So for those of you who have not seen the changes, basically, so her passive, there's a lot to the passive, but basically when she kills things, she gets stacks, very similar to like Thresh's souls, but she can also get them off of auto-attacking champions multiple times. There's a lot of other stats with damage crits that we'll get into more in depth later, but the souls, or the race, they give her AD, attack range, crit chance that then converts to lifesteal. But we'll get back to that because that's definitely the most in-depth part of her kit. Her Q is Piercing Darkness. Think of it as a really big Lucian Q that also heals allies that are in the blast zone. And this scales its range with the same range that Senna has, which her base starting range is 600, I believe. That sounds right. Pretty sure it's 600.
That is right, yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Second highest ADC, non-ultimate, obviously, and not Tristana scaling, right behind Caitlyn. Last Embrace is her W, which is she throws out a, that's a weird word, globule of Black Mist, roots a target after a couple seconds, after 1 second, and then also roots anybody around that champion as well. And then her E is the big talk on Reddit right now. So it is Curse of the Black Mist. She turns invisible, or camouflage, sorry, to be specific. And any allied champion that is in the mist around her is also camouflage. And when they exit the mist, they show up as a white, or a wraith form. So then the enemy team doesn't know what champion it is unless they stand next to them or damage/CC them. They are not targetable. They're not clickable. They are targetable. So they can be hit by skill shots. They just cannot be right-clicked on. And then last is her ultimate, which is a global Lux ultimate on steroids that also heals allies, does damage to champions in a thin line, but has a much wider radius for shielding allies. So, what are our first thoughts, guys? What do we think? How is this champion? She's a support marksman, the first support marksman that Riot has released, so she could be laned with Lucian. What do we think?
Two things.
Yep.
Number one, she does not have the ability that was in the teaser trailer.
Which one?
I'm a little sad about that. She literally shoots light through Lucian and puts a shield on the other side of it.
So I think that's I agree that like it's a
It's
shield
a Q.
behind him. I
It's
think it's
definitely her
It's
Q.
the Q. It's just different. Yeah,
Oh,
because
but
I
I
like
thought
how
she'd get a
that
shield
looked a
too, like a
lot.
Braum, like she could cast a Braum shield on an ally or
No.
something. That would have
No,
been sweet.
I was so happy that was not. I do not need any more Yasuo
Yeah.
Windwall type mechanics. I was
definitely
so
remember
sad.
you saying that when we watched it live. You were like,
Yeah.
"That's a Yasuo Windwall." No, you snapped me. You sent it to
Yeah,
me. And
I
you were
just
like,
sent you
"That's
a
a
Snapchat.
Yasuo Windwall," and I was like,
I was
"Yeah."
like, not another effing Windwall in my game, please no. So I'm super pumped. That's not a thing.
Second thing, I love how the dumbest team comp you can come across has a million roots in it at long range, and her W just gives another root. It's like a Morgana binding that after a second is also an AoE,
Yeah.
just in
Yeah.
case you were not getting rooted enough in bottom lane. And I really want to see the interactions with her E, because I feel like Nunu and Rise can do some funky combos out of that shadow pool.
Oh yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, also it's just a very good counter to certain champions that don't have, say a skill shot. Like how is Vayne ever really gonna do anything to you? You just pop
Right.
that, you get a free getaway, get some setup, wait for cooldowns.
Well, and the
I know there's not
interesting
that
thing
many
is
things like that, but
is like champions. So like her E, for instance, like if Vayne, like the one thing that could counter her would be Vayne's E. Like if it actually hit her to
right?
CC. No, right. But I mean, like if you hit her, like as she was, because there's a channel when she uses her mist. It's not instant. It's like I don't know what the time is. It's like one. It's got to be 1 second. Yeah.
1 second.
So in that 1 second, if like Vayne uses her E to push her away, once Senna takes damage, does damage, she actually just goes back into the form. So like even if Thresh hooks her or whatever, she gets like pulled out of the shroud, she immediately goes back in. It's kind of like a Kali. Like you CC her, and then if you let go of her, she just falls right back in, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So that's like, it's like even if Vayne gets lucky and I got my CC on her, Senna's like, nope, still here.
No.
Like I'm still in there. Sucks.
Important thing to note about that is it does have what I would call an appropriately long cooldown. At rank 1, it's 26 seconds. At max rank, its cooldown is only 20 seconds. So she's only picking up 6 seconds in the middle there, which seems like a lot. But you're talking a full Lux ultimate cooldown at that point in the game.
Yep.
Which is, if you put it on par with some ultimate abilities, that makes a whole lot of sense, because you can't just spam that over and over again, and you have a definite window as the other team to engage after that ability goes down.
I don't know when the cooldown starts for the ability, because the stealth duration late game is 8 seconds, where the cooldown would be 20 seconds. So basically, you got 12 seconds off of the camouflage.
But you do max it last in your support, or I'm imagining you will max it last.
Right.
And you're
because
support,
you're
which will never hit level 18 in almost all your games. So.
Right. Because the root, the W, let me see here. Cooldown is always 11 seconds. So if you max her W, you're only getting a mana cost increase. The range doesn't go up. Nothing goes up. Nothing goes up or down. It does more damage.
The base damage. The base damage on that I remember being actually
70 to 250 plus 70% bonus AD. Oh, the root gets longer from one.
The root duration. Yeah.
Yeah, the root duration's longer, but the cooldown isn't shorter. So it's kind of like I guess I don't know really what would be the better situation.
I think you just looking at it, and again, I haven't played as it, I haven't gone to PB to testing this stuff out, but I would imagine that most of your games, you're going to be maxing Q, then W, then E.
Yeah. You're definitely maxing Q.
The only ability that, only basic ability that with levels reduces cooldown is the E. Both Q and W remain flat cooldown as of now.
What do we think about the ultimate being global?
It sounds so fun. I feel the top lane's gonna get so mad anytime Senna's in the game.
They can get a taste of their own medicine of globals.
Yeah, pretty much. It doesn't seem like it'd be that hard to time because it moves super quick. Eli was Griffstory here was talking about before the show that he timed it, and it's 2 seconds from fountain to fountain. So it's not like an Ezreal ult where you have to
Right.
There's a decent
Even a
amount of
Jinx
time
ult.
before then in top lane. So it's
Jinx ult is
pretty
9 seconds pound to
instantaneous.
pound, by the way.
And considering how just massive the shield is on this ult,
Yeah.
you're guaranteed to get the shield off. It's whether you get the damage on the other enemy's top laner that matters.
Well,
So you
the
can always
width,
support your team from.
the level
moving
1
away.
ultimate is 320 wide, and then the 2
I
and
see
3
that
are
now.
both 1200 wide. So
Oh.
like it increases significantly.
got-
Oh no. It's the 320 is just the central beam. The 1200 is the wide beam. The shield.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's-
so it's
that's what I
1200
thought
wide
that was.
always. Well, it's still wide as
Yep.
heck.
Yeah. So you're always getting the shield off of
But
anybody,
the
no matter
yeah,
where they
but
are
the
on the map.
damage is pretty.
It's just the damage that's going to be the one that's going to be a little tricky here. But I mean, sometimes all you need is the shield. It's just
Well, I imagine any fight or skirmish that's in the top lane, like you said, there's not a lot of timing that's going to be involved. You're kind of just going to like point your mouse over the fight and just be like, and alt, and you're going to hit
be
somebody.
using it more for the shield at
Right.
long range than you are for the damage. I mean, for all of it, it's more for the
God,
shield.
that's the crazy part too. You're doing
Supporting.
damage and your top laner gets a shield.
If you hit the damage, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. She seems pretty solid. It just depends on kind of the meta, what counters her. Do you guys think she's going to be weaker to poke, weaker to hard engage? Like, what do you think is if you go up against a Senna, what do you think is the best way to deal
Well,
with it?
she's
with your
going to
fan
want to
select?
be poking to get race because it's pretty important that she gets that auto attack range increase. I don't know like what her optimized items are going to be, but we're going to talk about this later. But Fire Cannon's getting a buff on the PBE right now where they increase the range
Ooh.
of the passive. So it's going from, I'll spoil this now because it's part of the conversation.
Yeah, hit us with
I
it.
did not have it up. It is from 150 to 200. So you get 200 extra range. She's already at 600. And then she gets I don't know, however many range when she gets her first 25 souls.
So every 20
25.
stacks, she gets
25
every
range at 20 souls.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
So she's going to have, basically, she's going to be able to auto for 825 range, which is farther than a turret. That's what I had when I was in that practice tool, is I was outranging towers, which, like, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you're poking down towers, and she auto attacks slow, so it's not a huge deal, but, like, you're a support who does, like, decent enough damage, who can literally, like, over the tanks, like, auto at the back line, which is pretty freaking sweet. I have a hard time I don't see where she's not an 80 carry unless she literally can't pump out enough damage, because like I said, her auto attacks are really they channel, and you're standing there and you have to wait like a hot second to auto attack, and that's leaving you open to get absolutely CC'd and wrecked. Because she doesn't have mobility. She could turn camo, but if someone's still standing next to her, she's going to be revealed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
once Leona gets on her, like, that's it. She doesn't get to disengage from that. She can flash, but that's it.
This actually kind of plays into item changes a little bit, but just seeing what they're doing with Senna and the new support item that gives AD, I think you might see like Spring Split, early season meta change to genuine ADCs just taking that pokey attack damage support item and playing support. And so you might get a double ADC bot lane. And obviously Senna's going to be the number one pick in that scenario because she's an ADC that can heal and shield people. But people already played Ashe and Ezreal support and Misfortune support before, and now they get an AD scaling support item.
That's a good point.
This could be just the way that the early Season 10 is played.
I forgot to mention that if she buys Spell Thief gets converted to AD, and it's future items.
Well,
Those are
she gets adaptive
Or
damage.
adaptive damage, right?
Yeah, and just for spell thieves, not for like she can't buy like Ludens and it would go to a
No, that's what I'm saying. Spell Thieves,
Yeah.
and then all the items that Spell Thieves upgrades to, because now you don't buy the items. It like Spell Thieves upgrades with like stacks or something like that. So like its future ones still give adaptive to her.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
because
Excited to try
again I'm not freak, so I'm not
it. The numbers.
I'm not
all
the numbers
mapped out.
guy. I punch people for a living. No. So it's like the stacks give her AD, crit, range, etc. And once she gets X amount of crit, it converts to lifesteal. So upon exceeding 100% crit chance, Senna converts 35% of excess into lifesteal. So like,
Man,
like
so
I don't know
overloaded.
I don't know what items that you build for that, but it's like, so you're telling me if I just build all crit items, I also get lifesteal? It's like, so then I take, let's say I'm gonna play her as an AD carry here because that helps me make this stuff in my head. So if I'm gonna buy like Infinity Edge into Rapid Fire Cannon for the range, and then into Essence Reaver because cooldowns and mana regen because she's a spell based ADC, like that's 75%. So what, I'm gonna get a Storm Razor because that's gonna give 25% now for 100, and now I'm getting Lifesteal. I don't know. Like,
so for me with that logic is that after the Spell Thieves, I just think she's gonna be gated by gold. Like, it'd be super sweet if you could build all those items in a game. You probably would just get so much extra stuff based off her passive and those items.
right.
But end of the day, she's still a support, and so it's gonna just depend on how hard she can, or how much she can work with basically 2 items for the majority of the game. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Right.
I think that, and that's what people try to figure out once we are able to start playing her, is how like what items are going to give her the most, just based on the gold, or lack thereof gold the support gets.
Right. So like
that's also kind of changing though, because when you fully complete your support item, it stops giving you gold altogether anyway.
Yeah.
So you conceivably could be in a situation where instead of the ADC going to clean up a wave in bot lane, okay, you send Senna down there or whoever your support was in the game can actually just start farming at that point for no penalty.
She also doesn't have to spend any gold to upgrade the support item. It upgrades itself. So like,
she's getting her first item faster.
Right.
Sure.
She's getting damage from that, and she's buying damage like early game. Yeah. So like early game, she's probably going to be doing a lot more damage from the poke that she's going to be able to deliver as well.
Yeah, but she stops getting that extra kind of gold after pretty much her first item. Like that, and we'll get into that support changes later on here, I'm sure. But I still think it's going to be how well she's going to work off of 2 items.
One of the matchups that they designed Senna for was to be laning with Lucian. And so I was thinking of like the Black Mist. If somebody can go in and out of the mist to like turn camouflage, then it allows Lucian, who already has like pretty low cooldowns, to like have way lower cooldowns. But anyway, so on to preseason changes in general. The first thing we're going to talk about is dragon buffs, Rift Herald changes, and map changes all kind of collectively in one, starting with dragons. Dragons are changing to 4 different kinds of dragons, like normal, but they all have different, or slightly modified buffs. So Mountain Drake now, instead of damage to objectives, will now give you a 8% armor and magic resistance increase. And then the Dragon Soul for Mountain will give you a shield after not taking damage for X amount of seconds. Infernal Drake will still give you, a higher percent of AD and AP. And then the Infernal Dragon Soul is burn damage, a big AoE burn damage. And then Ocean Drake is now just giving you health over time when you're out of combat instead of mana. Is it out of combat or is it always? When you take damage, you get a burst of healing and mana for the Dragon Soul.
Well, that's when you deal damage.
All right, when you deal damage, you get healing and mana with Dragon Soul. And then Cloud Drake is you get ultimate cooldown, and then the Cloud Drake Soul is you get movement speed when you deal damage to an enemy champion.
I believe the percentage of missing health is all the time. I don't think it's just out of combat. I believe it's all the time.
Yeah, I think it's all. I think that's the trade-off, is that like you don't get mana anymore, but the health is constant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. Is there a dragon particularly that either of you are fond of? Is it OP now? Does it all suck?
Well, I like what they did with the Mountain Dragon. I do think the numbers might have to get tuned back just a touch. Some of the clips I've been seeing from PvE players building full tank and getting mountain, like 2 mountain dragons and the mountain soul, walking onto the walking into the base, tanking 3 turrets for I don't know how long, and their health bar actually doesn't move. Some of these get a little absurd. I don't want to know how much armor armor specifically Sejuani's going to have when her passive is up if she's got 2 mountain dragons.
Oh god.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like what they do with that. I think the numbers might need to get scaled back just a bit.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like the ideas of all of them. I think what my favorite, I mean, everyone's favorite is gonna be Inferno, right? You just get extra. It's just extra damage. Everyone loves extra damage. That feels good.
I agree.
But I really like Cloudbringer's Grace. I think just getting the CDR for your ultimate, it's gonna feel so good on certain champions.
We got when we play tested it. When we played on the PBE. We got Ocean Drake, the Ocean Soul, and I was playing Orianna. Or no, sorry, I was playing Orianna one game. The other game I was playing Jinx. But my auto attacks were giving me mana and health back, and I was just like 1v4ing face tanking, and I was healing so much, and my mana was never going down, which meant I always got to use rockets, and I got a kill, so I'd rocket faster, and I would never run out of mana because it was just always full, and it felt real good. I was like, oh my god, I was laughing, like I was talking to myself about how good it felt during the team fight. It was that easy. I had zero focus, but that one I was pretty happy with that one. That one felt really, really strong. Stronger than I thought it was going to feel, especially like on an ADC of all things. Orianna felt really good sustain-wise. I'd QW somebody and I would lose no mana. Then I would ult and I'd still have all my mana. And it's like I can throw my ball wherever I want. And there's nothing. I don't get punished for it in any way. So that feels really nice as far as like trying to end the game. Like I definitely feel way stronger from that. I never felt the impact of Mountain Drake because I was always playing as an ADC or a mage.
Person.
Right, so like, yeah, that didn't really matter to me.
That doesn't matter to you, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the most situational one, right? Like the rest of them, that's what's kind of interesting as far as the it's called Grace or the base dragon buff is that the rest of them feels good on everybody, right? Attack damage, ability power, cooldown reduction, regeneration of health. That's just across the board. Every champion's like, yeah, sweet, I like that. The percentage of armor and magic resist is obviously geared more towards people building armor and magic resist. So that's kind of interesting there. Depending on what you're playing, you're either super thrilled or I wish it was any of the other three.
So something that didn't get changes this preseason was Baron. Baron's exactly the same. With these changes to Dragon, when you're going to get your second of a kind Dragon, so your Dragon Soul, what do you think is more important? You're at mid lane, the enemy team's at mid lane, and you have a choice. You can go, like, they're going to Baron. Do you go to Baron to stop them? Do you go to Dragon, excuse me, to get your second Dragon for your Dragon Soul? Obviously, you're always going to be situational, but...
The tough questions.
Right.
So I think that depends on what side of that situation you're on. If I'm on a team that's calling to go for Baron, but then Dragon's up and it's going to be the 4th Dragon for the other team, I think it's the wrong call. I think you definitely have to defend against that 4th Dragon because these Dragons are definitely geared towards ending the game. You've controlled the Dragon, you've gotten 4 in a row, or however you just got 4. This is a tool to help you, just suffocate your opponent. And I think if I'm deciding on whether I want my 4th Dragon or if I want Baron, that's a much harder conversation to have. Because, yeah, 4th Dragon is meant to suffocate people out, but maybe we didn't win the last team fight, and I know they're going to go to Dragon to stop us, so we can just go get Baron, and then we're a much bigger threat to them. So, it's I think it's a lot more situational than it was before. But if you're just talking 4th Dragon, I think it depends on what the dragon is.
So if you're winning, if you've been taking dragons and you're winning, do you win with dragon or do you win with Baron? Do you just say, let's go get the last dragon and use that to win? Not Elder, obviously the soul.
Yeah. You can. I mean, honestly, I think you can win with both, right? I think Baron's
Right.
still going to be fine. I think it comes down to just like you said, the situation you're in. If your team just got your jungler just got picked, and your team is going to go start Baron, I don't think you need to contest that, contest that Baron 4v5. I think you have that if you have that option in front of you, you four just go take the Dragon Soul.
For sure.
Yeah,
I would
so
say for
so
sure.
I think it opens up more kind of counterplay versus like, hey, one of my people just got picked off. They're starting Baron. Do we really need to stop this Baron buff, or can we just take the objective on the other side of the map and either pull them off of it, or just take the trade, and just try to force a fight that way? So I think, pretty hard blanket statement question.
Right.
I think you
obviously.
still want both to win the game, but I think it gives you more options if something goes advantageous or disadvantageous for your team.
Because if I ask you right now, your same question, your mid lane, like in the current state of League of Legends, you can get third Infernal Drake or you can get Baron. Like, and I'm telling you that you're guaranteed to get one or the other. Are you going to go Baron?
Oh, I go Baron every time. Yeah.
Exactly. So like
Yeah.
now at least you have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. If I told you that you're getting Infernal Dragon Soul or you're getting Baron, like you're probably gonna have a like I don't think we would all agree. I don't think all of us would just go Baron. I think somebody in this would be like, well, hear me out here.
Yeah, and I think that's an awesome direction of the game to go. It just depends that when we put it into practice, if the Dragon Soul is actually that much better than Baron, then we might have to talk to Riot about something.
I think the important part of that conversation, though, too, is that like I'm not asking you 5-stack Elder Dragon versus Baron. I'm asking you basic dragons versus Baron. Dragon Soul. If I'm telling you Elder Dragon versus Baron, like that becomes a whole nother conversation. Which like we don't need to get into that spectrum of things. I'm just saying that like that's how crazy the dragons I would say is that. I'm just asking you off of getting two dragons that are the same. I think that makes the conversation pretty more interesting. But
I've got a tried and true way to know exactly where to put your priorities. Okay, you wait for Spring Split. Wherever Dignitas goes to throw the game, that's the one you prioritize because they knew it was more important.
That's their barometer right there.
Tried and true for sure.
Yeah, I agree. That's some next level thinking. The true 200 IQ genius.
So with dragons probably being a higher priority then, as far as like ending the game and doing a lot of great damage, do you think dragons in general should be a higher priority? Are we going to see more bot lane focused macro? Teleports bot, mid teleporting bot, jungle ganking bot, Shen ult bot, the 5v5 fiestas just so we can get this Cloud Drake or this Ocean Drake or whatever. Because you probably, when we played, we could get the map changed at it probably around 26 minutes usually. Was that right, Eli? 25?
Yeah, so first dragon spawns at what, 6 minutes?
Yeah.
I would put 6 minutes on it every time, and so you
wait, no, I'm sorry.
4.
Elder Drake we would get spawned. We aggressively got Elder spawned at 26. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So at like probably so like at what 15, 14 minutes then?
Yeah, I mean it's.
And that's not taking them on spawn.
Mm-hmm.
We took them more or less on.
Pretty
spawn.
close.
Right.
On spawn.
But I'm saying if you didn't take it on spawn, it's safe to say that like probably at 15 minutes the map is going to change.
Yeah. So and that's actually really good because I think average game time right now is around 30 minutes. I don't know what it is in the PvE, but if you figure half the game you're spending with the map changed, that's good. Fine. I think that's good.
It creates a second phase of the game, basically. Mm-hmm. So, along with dragon changes, I guess we could go to map changes since we were just talking about it, but different map changes. Mountain Drake adds walls. It closes in the dragon pit more, adds a couple walls around blue buff and red buff. No, just red buff. Yeah, just red buff. And then Infernal Drake removes walls around blue and red buff, as well as bushes, and then also widens the dragon pit. Ocean Drake makes all the bushes bigger and spawns a lot of honey fruit everywhere for more sustainability. And Cloud Drake makes like a big movement speed vortex around red buff. Any of these stick out to you as like better than the other? I know we play tested Ocean Drake and
Infernal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have liked the only complaint I had with the two. I'll start this way, is that the Infernal Drake didn't open up the back of Baron and Dragon Pit, and I feel like
Well, nothing affects Baron Pit. Like no dragon at all affects like actual Baron Pit.
I still would like to see the back get opened up, even if it's a really
Right.
small.
I
gap in
agree.
it.
Just for the clarification of people listening, that like Baron Pit does not get bigger or smaller on Mountain and Infernal. It stays completely the same.
I actually don't think I looked at Baron one time that game, so
It's all about those
entirely
dragons.
possible.
I think that
just
says
never
something.
noticed.
We never looked at Baron the entire time. We spent all our times on dragons, and we still won the game in less than 30 minutes. I think that's
Yeah,
I think that seals the deal.
Yeah.
but
I mean, it's also new.
I think that it should open up the back, because based solely on the principle that the Ocean Drake put a bush in the back of the pit. I mean, I just feel like it should get opened up, but I didn't feel like any of the brushes were super impactful in that game. But again, we were in the driver's seat the whole way, so it's kind of hard to say. We didn't have any crucial moments around them.
We're the
You
ones that
clearly
have
were
the
playing
vision
the car.
control. The other people might be suffocated by the lack of vision due to the larger bushes, but we don't feel that because we have all the bushes.
We're just too good. So
Right.
really no frame of reference.
It's really
here.
hard to play test when you just beat everybody all the time.
Yeah, 100% win rate since the start of the game, right?
Yeah. Definitely don't fact check that.
No need to. I'm just telling you. That's how it is. But yeah, I mean, just going into that, like certain champions are gonna benefit from some of these map changes more than others. With those bushes, if you're playing Rengar, like if you get like playing Nidalee, man, you're just cruising through the jungle. Rengar, more options to jump at people. Garen's always in every single bush.
Yep, that's correct.
All these, so you can have some fun moments with this if you're, a little bit lucky to play a champion when you get the certain kind of map change you really want.
Yeah, I think more ambush. You're probably going to see more assassins. Logan, I know you don't want to hear this because
Yes.
you're the main. You're probably going to see more assassins because that's one more brush that you don't have the wards to cover, and they're just going to even the one extra brush they put in that's not a part of Ocean Drake. You either ward that or I don't know where their Ari went. I'm dead. I died now. And then Shaco's and Teemo has more places to go invisible. Shaco has more
And
boxes
Rengar can just jump bush to bush now. That's it.
Yeah. Every
God
highlight
damn
reel
it.
of a Rengar you've ever seen before.
Oh my god. Please no.
This my year, boys. This is my year.
So other changes, the last part of this section is Rift Herald. Rift Herald now spawns a minute sooner, I believe.
Oh, that's a good question.
I believe it's a minute sooner. And if you kill it fast enough, a second Rift Herald will spawn. Rift Herald does less damage to towers, has a 1 second channel time when you summon it, and takes more damage when it impacts the tower. So that basically means split pushing can be like more instant. And you can get more pressure by snowballing your top lane, which is good because on the alternative side you have all these dragons.
Yeah. Yeah, so you definitely have to balance out the map a little bit somehow, right? With all these newfangled dragons giving you all this sweet new stuff. That by itself would make top lane even more of an island, right? And so with this here, it kind of gives top lane more choices. Either, if you can't get down to that dragon fight or something, or you have some time, you can go ahead and take Shelly there and put some pressure on the map that way, forcing someone to respond, maybe giving your own team an opportunity to go ahead and start something at that dragon. So I think it just gives top lane a little bit more control on the game than it currently has.
You also can summon the Rift Herald while moving
Yes.
on the PvE right now. So you might see a few fewer clips of Lee Sin's trying to ward hop and then freezing and dying. I don't know how super impactful that is outside of that exact situation. I think I prefer if you had to stand still when you're summoning it, especially since they reduced the channel time on it. But I can see why they did. I think current Rift Herald takes 4 plates? 3 plates on a charge.
Currently, it's 3 plates.
Currently, it's 3. I think
Yep.
this is going to be like 2, 1 3/4, something like that for early in the game. I think it's 2.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you get 2 Rift Heralds, and the second one you probably get after plates are down. So that's, if you get both of them, you're guaranteed a turret and maybe some change. And that's at like 10, 11 minutes. So you figure there's been 2 dragons by then. Yeah, you can get a lot more pressure top lane. They did take away some of the split push items for top laners, so giving them a little extra tool is probably really helpful.
I don't know the numbers specifically, but I'm curious as to, like, in the first week of the LCS, if you're going to, barring that nothing changes drastically, if you're going to see, like, taking an early, like, as early as possible Rift Herald, so you can use it solely to just get, like, the 2.5 plates or 2.25 plates, only to have it die, to have it respawn, so you could take the rest of the plates.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see how the numbers shake out gold-wise for that, if it's worth missing a wave to
do that.
To do that at all.
Well, I imagine, you'd have to
bit.
push. You'd push your wave. You'd push a big wave, and then you would, like, rotate with your jungler, maybe your mid laner, maybe not the mid laner, but your jungler at least. Because, you could solo it practically, but you and the jungler would take it to do it faster. Because, like, obviously the other team's going to be taking Dragon at this point. You're trying to get your, like, top lane Rides or Fiora or whatever ahead. So then you're going to take Rift, then you're going to run up top real quick. The top lane is going to clear the top wave. You're going to spawn Rift, headbutt to get the rest of the plates, or whatever chunk of plates. And then you're just going to keep shoving and pushing your advantage until it respawns, in hopes that if you haven't taken that tower yet and plates are still up, bam. But yeah. I feel like that's pretty, that's like a very small window. Maybe you're using that second rift on the second tier tower by then, but yeah, I think it's an interesting thought process,
Is it easier to take? Is it less health? I forget.
The
Rift Herald or the tower?
Yeah, Rift Herald. Sorry.
I believe Rift Heralds, both of them have less health, and I think that one thing we didn't mention about the dragons is they all have like 20% less health as well, besides the Elder Drake.
I would expect a change on that, though, because Riot has said that they're looking into it. Okay. A lot of people have given their opinion that a jungler can solo it, like, way too easily, too early.
Yeah. It did seem like those dragon fights were going to be really, really fast, so the opportunity to get Rift Herald was going to be a lot shorter if the other team is committing to dragon. So Herald having lower health makes a lot of sense. I don't know if that'll get adjusted up when they adjust dragons or not.
I'm not opposed to the concept of, like, making dragon, like, easier to take if you have multiple people. Like dragon's armor and magic resistance gets reduced if, like, 3+ people are around it. So, like, if your team fight, like, if it's a 5v5, like, dragon's gonna, like, die really fast, so it makes the stakes, like, way higher. Or, like, if you successfully push lanes or catch somebody out, and then your bot and jungle take dragon, you'll take it faster. But, like, if the jungler's like, oh, I'm a Vi and I'm gonna solo this, or Xin or whatever, like, it's harder for them to do that. They risk, like, getting caught and having it stolen, kind of a thing. But that's why I don't balance League of Legends, because I wouldn't be good at it. Because I just have bad ideas.
Not the worst I've ever heard.
No, there are way worse out there.
There are way worse out there.
So another change on Summoner's Rift, moving on, is the legendary, the very important alcove on the top and bottom side of the maps.
Super important.
Super important. Lots of outplay potential. Lots of mind games. Thoughts?
I think it's kind of a cute little thing.
I meme, but on the one instance that I'm going to have a bard someday that's going to, like, take my, like, jungle, us, and my mid lane under their tower for, like, a really intense tower dive. I'm hyped for that.
That could be super hype. Like, Yeah, there's gonna be some really some champions who really abuse it in certain ways, and that's gonna be like flavor of the month champion, do this, freelo, get diamond today kind of things.
OMG, Rito
yeah.
broke it.
Yeah,
Junglers
exactly.
hate him.
Junglers hate him. So I think there'll be some interesting stuff with it, but I think, and who knows, maybe you can, I don't know, if you're maybe bringing a minion wave over in that direction is helpful. I'm not sure. But I think it's just another option that you can use sometimes. That maybe will make a difference. And I like more options. The more options you have, I think the better. So I'm all for it. Kind of excited to see what people do with it. And
one of the things I didn't realize until we actually like played in it, the bushes kind of wrap into the alcove, like just a little bit even. So your jungler can like go through your bot lane bush into the alcove and into the other bush without being seen. I thought that the bushes would still be flat. So like you have to have the wave pushed up perfectly in order for the jungler to like sneak in. But like there's you can have a little give in there to where the jungler can still like sneak in almost behind them.
Yeah, that was the easiest Rengar gank I think I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think lane ganks you're gonna be seeing a lot more lane ganks. So supports.
Riot was like,
ward that bush.
Riot was like, we got 5-man gank spot. What are ways that we could get those 5 people into the lane in different ways? Like, what if we make a new entrance point for Bard? I like it.
ADCs hate it. Everybody else.
ADCs hate it. Yeah, everyone else loves it.
I think I would like to see some small objective pop up in there every now and again for both top and bottom. I don't know if it would be like a small watchtower beacon. You can get like a mini clairvoyance if you win the spot. Just something to fight over, so you don't have 8 minutes of uninterrupted laning phase followed by 3 lane ganks in a row by their entire team.
A little like a camp that when you capture it, it spawns additional minions into your lane.
Well, that's not.
We hots now, boys.
Let's not be too heroes of the storm.
We're hots.
I do think adding some small, not super important objective there that could help in small ways would be beneficial. I don't know necessarily what that would be, but I like the idea of a watchtower where you can drop a little clairvoyance or just a really far sight ward.
Yeah, I could. I'm not entirely against that idea. I think it'd be kind of fun. Just depends on like the cooldown of it and how important it's gonna be. But yeah, no, I'm hey, get this guy in Riot. Right, he's got some ideas. Listen to this man.
I'm a big idea guy.
Big idea guy.
So for item changes on PvE, we kind of already touched on the top lane items that are getting removed. ZZ Rot, Ohm-Wrecker, Raptor Cloak, because the only thing it builds into is ZZ Rot.
And
Yorick Main's Cry.
And Jax
and Jax. And the no champions that use
Trick 2G cries. That's really where this stuff.
What Kuz pointed out, though, that's the big one, especially for me as an ADC main. No more Spear of Sojin. No more Rivens. No more Jax. No more Renekton's. Triple, quadruple, dashing in on me, and just, it's dumb. It's so dumb. Thank you, Riot, for removing this toxic item.
You can't balance around that item. It's ridiculous. It's just, it's the best thing they've ever done.
And they tried to follow it up with the worst thing they've ever done with the original change to
everybody. The Oprah Winfrey of League of Legends. You get a Spear of Sojin. You get a Spear of Sojin. Anyone who takes Cloud Drake, y'all get a goddamn Spear of Sojin.
And then they opened Reddit one day and went, "Oh, that was the part of Spear of Sojin you guys didn't like."
I thought it was the hell.
I thought it was the hell. So I was saying, I thought the 45 AD at the cost of the gold was OP. Like, oh, it's the alt CDR. Oh, stupid us. Oh, man.
See, we listen to our players.
Yeah.
That's what they followed that with.
That's Riot's new tagline. We listen to our players.
But hey, big thumbs up in my book, Riot. Nice job.
I'm happy to finally see it, but the recently addition of the ADC changes for items, I just felt like ADCs were just getting dicked on this whole preseason. Like every patch I saw, every part of it, I was just like, so where's the ADC? Like, where do ADCs get the competency buff? Because like,
you don't need one.
Like currently, they're not like the cream of the crop right now. Like they're not garbage, but like they're not like super OP right now. So I'm just watching them like slowly go into the grave, and I'm like, okay, at some point they're gonna get lifted up a little bit, and it's like, nope, nope, nope. Currently, so energized effects, all stack now. So that's like your static shiv, your fire cannon, your rune that gives you healing. Can't think of it right now. The boot one, can't think of it. But anyway, all charged the same now. Fleet footwork. Thank you. I was gonna say warlords.
The boot one.
The boot one.
Warlords of Draenor?
Yes. Fire cannon now gives you 35% attack speed, 200 range instead of 150. But the energized damage goes from 60 to 140 to a flat 50. So big nerf there. And then no longer increases your energized charge speed. So energized attacks are still slowly charged rather than faster.
Are those going to be an item set, or is that only lethality items?
That's only lethality items currently.
Okay.
Currently, yeah.
It'd be an interesting thing to like change though to make that, because static shiv, what's that one? The damage goes from 60 to 140 to just 140, so more wave clear for ADCs, and all energized attacks chain to lightning targets.
So
So it's more wave clear on that. Yeah, so that's the buff to ADCs is that they can wave clear and sit under tower. Hell yeah.
It's what you do anyways.
Right. Storm Razor changes. Cost increase from 3,100 to 3,200. It's now BF Sword, Cloak Agility, and Kershi Shard plus 500 gold. AD Lord from 60 to 50 now has 25% crit chance, and Energize effect change from increased by 35% to charges energizes 35% faster. So getting Storm Razor makes your other two charge faster. So that's good. Plus itself, because it still gives you that like buff damage, that initial, boom. So
It's still slow too.
I think Sivir's probably going to be really high pick priority with these new changes. Because you press W and you sit back, and if they try to poke you with Spell Shield, I can't think of a better situation if the other team has a Senna. Just the least amount of time
if Shiv does like enough damage on its own, like lightning wise, like you might be able to just buy a Shiv like right away too, and could clear waves. Like maybe a BF sword into Shiv, but like you might not have to buy Infinity Edge into Shiv or Essence Reaver into Shiv.
I think you could just buy Shiv first item on a lot of these champions. If
champions like Tristana, for instance, already just build Shiv. Now it's just better for her to do that,
Yeah.
And Yasuo.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh god. Don't
Yasuo always feeling the brunt of ADC changes.
Let's skip over that one real quick.
He's listed as a marksman. Come on.
Please.
Oh, that's
Thanks,
right.
G2.
Way to go, guys.
Thanks. You're the best. Do you want to touch on lethality items at all? Sanguine Blade's a new item?
Yeah, I think it's pretty big for 80 assassins.
45 AD.
There's that many, huh?
Gets the attack speed passive when you damage an isolated target, including a turret.
Yeah, so I basically, right now, state of the game, 80 assassins pretty much have to build all the lethality items.
Dustblade, Ghostblade. Nobody likes to build the other one, but they have to.
Because it's just the most damage. It's just how you get your damage, and it feels bad not doing damage as an 80 assassin. So right now, what they're doing is the set bonuses, which we alluded to earlier, which basically once you build two of them, you get a pretty good size stat increased that does not increase with a third or any more of them. So then you can after you get so you basically set up these are gonna be my two lethality items this game. Now I can do other fun stuff based on what the situation needs, like go Guardian's Angel or Black Cleaver or Last Whisper earlier. So will give more options, and I think will allow them to scale a little bit better. And also my favorite change of the whole thing is Edge of Night. No longer is activated. You don't activate it. It's just like Banshee's Veil. God bless USA. God bless Riot. I hated just like, okay, I'm gonna press this button now and hope I block something. Now it's more consistent with its AP counterpart. So yeah, I'm pretty. I think it's a good change. Well, I think it just kind of depends on how the numbers work out with the stat bonus.
Any touches on XP changes or runes? Sorry, Runes are more important. Kleptomancy, he's getting reworked. Turning into Kaleidostone. Basically rotates all of the other keystones through a cycle. You get 9 seconds between using a keystone and gaining the next, and 12 seconds for range users also. And then after 40 seconds of not using a given keystone, it will re-roll when you exit combat. So basically a 40-second use it or you lose it cycles you through all of the keystones constantly. Thoughts on that?
I think it's kind of gimmicky, and it might see some play early with some people that just kind of workshop it, and you catch somebody. It's kind of like running a gadget play in football. You run it because people don't expect it; they don't really know how to play around it. So right. I think that's probably what it's going to get its most use out of, and I'm going to stick by that stance until somebody proves me wrong, and it's the most pick summoner spell in Spring Split.
I think the important part is that it's random. So it's not like, like the proceed, if it was a set direction, like left to right across the like rune page, then somebody would be like, okay, so you take it. So right away you get like your precision strike and then it turns into lethal tempo. So then you like do all of your autos and then cap it off with your conqueror stack or whatever. They'd figure it out on some champion.
You can plan for it. Yeah.
Right. And then at 12 minutes when it's electrocute, you all in,
Yeah. Yeah.
But probably just seems gimmicky because it's random at this point.
There's probably only a couple. Yeah. Like the only ones I could like theory craft about being like decent on would be like champions like Silas, who already has such a wide variety of keystones that he can take and like actually make use of. Maybe things like maybe Lysandra. It just seems like it's just an inferior option to just keeping one keystone through the game. I don't like it personally.
I'd like to take a second look at the other side of that change. The fact that kleptomancy isn't a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the new support items, can you forget that? Senna having kleptomancy? Are you kidding me? She doesn't need more gold gen.
Right.
Oh, like if it was still the same, yeah, that's true.
She just gets free gold, free items. She doesn't have to buy wards because she's probably going to get them off of Klepto with that attack range. Like it would be absolutely ridiculous. I think they had to do it. Yeah. I just don't think this was probably a very good way to go about it. It's creative.
I just hope they compensate buff the champions that have heavily relied on it for 2 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, don't worry. They have to make sure Ezreal is like a top 3 ADC no matter what.
Right. Ezreal, Gangplank,
I wouldn't be worried.
Naguri has to play Vladimir Klepto still, so
Yeah. No, they'll forget about the rest of them. But Ezreal will be taken care of, baby.
Any XP changes that we want to touch on?
I mean,
as far as it impacting the game all around altogether.
Yeah, all right. Hop on your soapbox. I know you want to talk about
ADC's got a 4% reduction in XP. Jungle got 2.4% reduction. Bot laners got 4% down.
So much Amazon.
And top and mid got a 4%. No, 2.4. 2%? Or did they get? I don't even remember anymore. I've gotten so irate about it that I've completely forgotten.
You don't care that much.
It's that ridiculous. It's okay. So no. I think I remember. So it's 2.4% in the bot lane because you're also sharing the XP. That's what it is. So it's 2.4% reduction in the jungle and the bot lane, and then it's a 4% increase to solo laners, top and mid. Stupid bruisers that were already OP are just gonna get stronger, and then they're gonna teleport bot because dragons are so strong, and they're gonna gank me through my alcove.
With the changes to jungle XP, with how that's structured, you can get level 3 off of one rotation, and some champions will be healthy enough to gank bottom before they go back.
Level 3 off of buff Gromp or buff Krugs.
Yes. So then that's 2 camps, and then jungler's in your lane, and then you'll respawn and you'll come back, and the jungler and the mid laner will be in your lane because they want dragon. On
one note though, for all the lanes, level 2 XP is the same. So getting level 2 is still the same concept. So you don't have to adapt for that. So that'll be nice. Right. So when or if the jungler ganks at his level 3, you will be level 2. He can't catch you with your pants down at level 1, you know.
While Jarvan's level 3.
Right, because oh my god, like that I would be absolutely irate if that was actually a thing.
Pretty much.
Oh
if
my
that
god,
was
I'd be
a
so
thing,
upset.
You'd pretty much have to like take bot lane champions like Ezreal, Lucian, and level 1 start like their E ability.
Yes. Oh yes.
Just
yes.
save it. Like you'd just be.
And then you
forced
just
to.
have to hover your flash. You just be like, all right, where is he? Like he's
Which
coming.
I think would be hilarious, but
no, it wouldn't.
I don't play bot lane that much, so so I kind of wished it was like that.
Well,
maybe that's the counter to the aggressiveness of some of the new supports with Pyke getting the AD support item. Senna
picking Ezreal so you can start E.
Just
that's it. Tristana so you can start jump. They're like, no, you don't do it for the early pressure there. You do it for the disengage. Like
Caitlyn appears to be maxing 90 caliber net first. Not really sure what
because
that's
double
about.
TP bot at 258 is now meta, you know, or whatever the time would be. But
yeah, like mid and top all get level 3 and bot lane still level 1, and that's just like the go button. The minion before bot lane hits level 2.
He's like a gazelle in the Serengeti.
Oh, that would be like the new like lane swap meta, right? Where casters were talking about like, oh, they missed this by 1 caster minion. Looks like they got the worst end of the trade.
They're gonna lane swap top to keep their ADCs alive.
No, so you're gonna let your ADC go solo top for like 2 minutes just so they could get like level 3. Like from the boosted solo XP, then they TP to the bot while the top laner TP's top, and now you're willing to share XP because you have like that lead. Yeah. And because catch-up XP is so high for the top laner, they just snowball rubber band like past you anyway, so it doesn't matter. But like,
hey, you heard it here first. You at home, we gave you the hidden tidbits that Riot didn't want.
When Dignitas tries to lane swap, you heard it here. Oh god. All right, so wrapping up the show, Q&A section here at the end, 5 minutes. Just kind of going towards the end. So we got a couple questions that we got beforehand that we're going to go through. So one that we got here, does a single early team fight decide the game? This one I remember was directed more towards like the talk of Dragon. Team fighting around the front of the Dragon pit. Thoughts on that, Coobs?
I think does it decide the game? That's a tough one. I think it is more impactful. I think this game, at least right now, with the current numbers and how strong Dragons currently are, is pretty important. I still think it doesn't like just full on like, oh, we lost this team fight, time to FF. I don't think it's quite that severe, but I do think you gotta be extra diligent in prepping your Dragons and having champions that can actually deal with that early game for to be more competitive in your games.
Is it safe to say that the snowball starts with one team fight?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say that. I think only if you get the Dragon on the back end, though, right? If you get like think if it's like a team fight that's maybe you lose 2 and
if you ace the team,
lose any, but if they don't get the Dragon, I don't think that's the same. It just depends on if they can come out with the Dragon on the back end of it.
Next question, will we see Dragon types in Champ Select? I've never been a big advocator of Dragons in Champ Select. I don't like it. I agree that too much RNG in League of Legends is not good. I'm somebody who is still a little indifferent on plants in League of Legends. But Dragons, if you were going to do it, I would understand why you would do what dragon will the map change to, but I don't think you do the first dragons that will spawn. Like you can plan for the extra walls, the removal of walls, the extra bushes, etc. But at the same time, I don't even like that, because then I feel like solo queue at least gets really gimmicky. Like the Ocean Drake is going to be what the change is. Well, then it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to ban Rengar because I'm not dealing with that. The more mountains, so someone's going to pick Talon, or the Cloud Drake, so someone's going to pick Hecarim, and I just think it causes more headaches. And I also think it causes more games to be the same. And the point of this is that more games are going to feel different because of the more variety from game to game.
I guess I think you hit the nail on the head with that. The only thing I'm going to say is advocator is not a word. You've never been an advocate.
Advocate. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. And you're welcome, the one person who cared about that.
Last question. Early game more important than late game? Are scaling champions worse or better now because of it? Eli?
So the answer to the first question is no. Early game's not more important than late game because you can't win the game at 5 minutes. You can win the game at 35 minutes.
Hashtag Elder Drag.
Yeah. So it's kind of hard to put a weight on that. Early game is important as a baseline, but it's not like you're building a house where the foundation is everything. How many games have you sat in where you got dumpstered on early game, felt like everything was losing, and then that one team fight was a 3-3 split instead of a 4-2? And then you go, okay, well, now we've got something, but it's 25 minutes. Now the game's really starting for you. So I don't think early game's going to be as important as late game, but I don't know that any phase of the game can be discounted either. And the second part, do scaling champions get worse? I think they see a lower priority. I don't know that they get worse. Because those fights around Dragon Pit, you do want something that's a little bit stronger early, but you can take a scaling champion and say, okay, we're going to give up priority on the first dragon or two, but we're going to put so much pressure. If they go for that fourth dragon, I'm taking their inhibitor, you know? It's possible that scaling champions are worse. I don't think that's necessarily the case. It just kind of depends on how you play the game. And like you said, we're adding variety to the map, so you can't really plan for anything for sure until you see it happen.
Well said. Well, that's going to do it for our first episode of Talk of the Rift. For those of you that like our show and want to keep tuning in, our show is every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. for either a live show or a pre-recorded show, depending on the week. If you want to submit your questions, you can tweet them to us at Talk of the Rift. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter. And if you're listening to us on YouTube, hit that like button. And if you're on Twitch, give us a follow. Post your questions in the chat, and we will include them in our next episode. Have a great day, everybody.
Peace.